Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the session. So, you're with me, Arun Sharma, and in today's session, I'm going to talk to you about cracking the CAT in 6 months. I mean, what are the key factors? I mean, what should you be doing? What should be your study plan, etc. On a month-wise basis with respect to your preparation strategy and your entire structure of how you want to utilize the time that you've got from this point to the exam. And first of all, the first thing I wanted to reassure all of you that even if you're starting today and you're starting now, there's this tendency of getting a feeling that I'm already too late for preparation, specifically if you're starting in May, or even those of you start maybe next month, etc. Please understand, this was one of the things that I also faced when I was preparing for this exam during my first attempt in my college days. My preparation started much later than a lot of other people had started, and I mean, in fact, I started late July, almost end of July, for a November December exam. And the first thought that came to my mind was that am I too late to start, because I saw people preparing from, and people who are supposedly more intelligent from me than me, better academic grades, better colleges than mine. They had been preparing for almost 6 months for this exam, and I was a late entrant to the whole cycle of preparation. And as I've repeatedly told my students over the last 20 years now, 20, 25, 30 years actually, I've got almost 30 years of training experience with 3 decades. Most of you are not even born when I started teaching for CAT. And in all my experience, what I've seen broadly is that there are a lot of advantages that somebody who prepares for 6 months has. I mean, principally, of course, 10-month preparation cycle is better than a 6-month preparation cycle, and a 14-month preparation cycle is also better than a 6-month preparation cycle. But the bigger problem that I see for people who have gone for 10 months, 12 months, 14 months is that they are not able to maintain the consistency. There are a lot of stops and starts in between the preparation. But when you come down to CAT prep in 6-month time frame, starting in May, let's say, you are kind of kind of single-minded, focused, and you know that you have to consistently do the work. There is no option of weeks in which you can have offs from CAT preparation. So as far as you can convince yourself of that, yeah, I'm going to give my best shot, and I'm going to give my best shot week in week out for the CAT, whatever extra time I've got over my basic preparation, whatever extra time I've got over my basic life, I'm going to try to push it into my CAT prep. Try to create a 30-40 hour schedule for yourself on a weekly basis. It's much more sustainable. I mean, it's if I tell you, it's like if somebody tells you that you need to exercise 3 hours every day for the next 10 years of your life, it is not possible. But if somebody says you do 3 hours every day exercise for two months, you realize that okay, this is a short burst of activity that I have to do, and you can actually then tell yourself, "ठीक है, इसको कर लेते हैं." I mean, it does not sound so intimidating at all after you think that way. So in that context, a 6-month preparation cycle might actually be a boon for a lot of you. Of course, as I said, nothing beats 12 to 14 months of preparation preparation when you go ahead and do 12 to 14 months of preparation on a consistent basis. Nothing beats that. But again, as I said, most of the students I see who prepare for 12 to 14 months, most of your competition, that means, are not able to be consistent week in week out. So there are a lot of stops and starts. So I often keep getting pings and getting messages on my channel, YouTube channel, or on my phone, on my Telegram groups, etc. that sir ये मैं prepare कर रहा था, 8-10 हफ्ते का preparation हो गया. I've done 8 to 10 months of preparation, 8 weeks of preparation, and then my exam came, so 4 weeks से break हो गया मेरा preparation. So that kind of somebody started in January and takes a break in March for 4 weeks. effectively he needs another 3 weeks back to actually come back to shape with respect to what he has done. So effectively that gap of 4 months is down to 2 months for you then with respect to that person. So it's very possible for you to crack the exam in 6 months, and that's the starting point of what I wanted to do. Now, there's a certain kind of activity, there's a certain kind of work that you need to do. And before I go to you, go ahead with the next part of what I want to talk about. Just wanted to let you know about the courses we're offering at Mindworks, the CAD online course, the Mindworks CAD online course. Our next batch is starting tomorrow. That's 12th of May, and uh, the factor. I mean, I often tell people who join the CAD program that at Mindworks, our philosophy is multiple teachers have taught the subjects multiple times. So when you join the Mindworks CAD course, not only do you get Arun Sharma's complete CAD course, but you also get the complete CAD course of around 7-8 faculties of the respective areas. So any faculty who teaches with us, we ask him or her to actually complete all the portion he or she teaches. So कोई verbal का faculty है, the verbal faculty teaches everything that is there in verbal. कोई quants का faculty, it's not like I have taught you one chapter, तो वो chapter कोई और नहीं पढ़ाएगा. So the 5-7 faculties who teach this thing, we do that because of the fact that for us at Mindworks, the functionality of the course is very important. मतलब अगर तुम CAD prep के लिए join कर रहे हो हमको, तो functionality of the course is कि तुम्हारा outcome आ रहा है कि नहीं. Outcome is not in terms of how well we taught. Outcome is in terms of are you able to get to the point where you are qualifying the exam, where you are giving your best shot. And two dimensions which we look at. If you join our course, two things we look at. One is on a weekly basis, what is the delta we give you? I mean, what is the delta we give you on a weekly basis? So when you start preparing with us, you got week 1, week 2, and the time available to us with each other is the only resource we have. And of course, our skills and our teaching and guidance and your hard work. So on every week basis, did we give you a delta? That means you had an option of preparing with XYZ versus you chose Mindworks. So did we give you a delta? I mean, यहाँ पे भी प्रिपेयर करते हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ डेवलपमेंट होता. Mindworks में प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो तो ज्यादा डेवलपमेंट हुआ कि नहीं. That's one thing that we look at. And second is on the day of the exam, how much did what you taught you inside the exam, inside those 120 minutes of the exam, how much did what we teach you help? Inside the 40 minutes of verbal, inside of 40 minutes of quants, inside of 40 minutes of DILR, did it help you when you actually needed that help? So did the training program actually? So this is terminal behavior. That is the focus of our course. And terminal behavior, I mean, when you talk about cracking the CAD also, and we are talking about a 6-month program or a 6-month study plan to crack CAD, you have to be very clear about one thing, that and this is something that I always talk about, that when you're preparing for an exam like this, your focus of preparation, whether it's verbal preparation, whether it's DILR preparation, or it's quants preparation, the focus of preparation is terminal behavior. And the terminal behavior we want, the terminal behavior is, and this is something that I always talk about in my training programs, that the objective of any training program is to make sure that the trainee reaches a point where he is able to execute the behavior you want him to. So when you're talking about quantitative aptitude, your preparation strategy should be such, or a preparation plan and preparation timeline should be such, that at the end of your preparation journey, when you go into the exam, terminal behavior we want is questions will keep coming in front of you. Every question in the CAT in quants demands a 3-step process normally to solve it. 3 or 4-step process normally to solve it. Normally 90% of the questions are 3-step processes. Maybe 10% of the questions will require a 4th step, right? So the correct terminal behavior we are targeting, or you should target in your preparation, is that for each of the questions which comes in front of you in the exam, this is the event. The question comes in front of you in the exam. You open the next question and the question is visible in front of you. That's the event. And that's the event we need to control if you want to crack the CAT. Because bottom line is, if in quants you can solve anywhere between 12 to 20 questions, you will get somewhere between 95 to 99.99 percentile, 100 percentile actually. If you can solve, if you can get this event, I mean the event that we want to create, ये event तो सबके साथ होगा कि question सामने आएगा. The event we want to create, the event you should like look at creating in your preparation, is that you are able to do the 4 steps required or the 3 steps required that the question demands from you. And you should not only know those steps, but you should be able to execute those steps correctly. And if you can do that, so this is the event we want to create. Your preparation for quants is to create this event, that you should know the steps and you should be able to execute the steps when the question comes in the exam in quants. So if this works, everything in your preparation has worked. If this does not work, then your preparation has not worked. If this event is not created, then your preparation is not working. So bottom line, when you talk about, I mean, I see a lot of people being very confused about their CAT prep strategies and the CAT prep processes. And the first thing I want to do to everybody who cares to listen to me is that you need to have that clarity of thought. You need to have that clarity of thought with respect to, you need to have your thought called clarity. You need to have a clarity of thought with respect to मैं तैयारी कर रहा हूँ, क्यों कर रहा हूँ, what is my objective? Because once that gets defined, so everything else can fall into place. So bottom line of preparation is this event will happen 21 times, 22 times in the exam for you. Current CAT pattern is 22 questions in quants. So quants में 22 times the question सामने आएगा. So out of those 22 times, how many times do you have the knowledge, and how many times are you able to execute? Just having the knowledge will not suffice. How many times you have the knowledge, how many times are you able to execute to get to the end answer, right? So if you can get 15 plus reactions, 15 plus executions, you'll be a high 99.5 percentiler in the CAT. If you have 18 plus reactions, you'll be 99.9 percentiler. If you have 20 plus reactions to questions, you are at 60 marks, you're 100 percentilers, right? So since I've started talking about quants, let me just jump into my preparation and into my prepared slides and move on to the next to the quants discussion itself. Before that, we also have a DILR. There are 2 courses in DILR that we run. One is a basic course and the other is the complete course. So you can have these you can use these codes to join the DILR course, and this is the number you can contact for various courses. And on top of that, those of you who are attending the workshop live today, we are also giving you a promo code further, a second promo code, that is Arun Sharma, ASINT, Arun Sharma Interaction. This code will be valid for you if you talk to our counselors with this code in the next 24 hours. That means till tomorrow night, 12th May, 8 p.m. You will get a further 1,000 rupee discount on the program from Mindworks. So you can use that promo code. I'll give you this promo code again a little bit later. But and apart from this, we also have an offline program in CP. And next batch of that is going to, we start batches on weekends, so you can come in and join on the weekends, right? So anyway, so coming back to the chapters, etc., that Bhavesh is asking about, and all of you would be interested. Now see this. I mean, ultimately, bottom line kya hai, when we talk about quants, if I want to create 15 of those events, and that's my terminal behavior objective, you want to create 15 of those events. So then the challenge shifts to breaking it down chapter wise. So what happens in the quants section? Essentially, what will happen in the quant section is that the questions would be divided from these chapters, right? You might have a number systems, progressions, and they're basically 5 blocks, 5 groups of chapters in which you prepare. So the groups are numbers, arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and I call this counting. Some people refer to this as modern maths, but I call it counting because these chapters are related to counting. So these are the chapters. This is the chapter breakdown of, and essentially you can see that there are 2 topics here, 2 chapters here, and 8 topics here, 4 chapters here, 3 chapters here, and 3 chapters there. So the entire challenge of CAT preparation is to get better at these 5 blocks and get better at 20 chapters, right? And a typical CAT paper will have a split bit of questions between these topics. So you might have you might have something like 3 questions from here, 1 question from there, 2 questions from here, 2 questions from here, 1 question from here, 2 questions from here, 1 question from here, 1 question from here, 3 questions from there, 3 questions from there. How many are we at? 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12, 16, 19, maybe 2 questions. Maybe you might have a little bit less here. So typically what happens is you have somewhere between 2 to 5 questions from this block. You have somewhere between 8 to 11 questions from this block. You have somewhere between 4 to 8 questions from this block. You have somewhere between 3 to 6 questions from this area. And you have somewhere between 1 to 3 questions from this area. So that's how the paper is divided. So bottom line, when we are talking about creating those 15 events, 15 plus events of knowing the question, knowing the reaction, and being able to execute the reaction, when we are talking about these events, we have to go chapter wise and be able to create the events inside the chapter. So in time split distance, if you are able to, if you have the knowledge and the execution for all the 3 questions, you would have created the 3 events that you require, right? Bottom line, event create करने का barrier क्या होता है? जो event हम लोग create करना चाहते हैं, the CAT qualifying event, as I said, is that the question comes in front of you. You have the knowledge and you have the execution to get to the answer. This is the CAT qualifying event. There's nothing else that qualifies CAT for you. People ask me this question कि इतना difficult exam है CAT, आपने 22 बार कैसे qualify किया? मैं भूल भी जाता हूँ कितने बार हुआ है मेरा. And the simple answer to how I've qualified it so many times is because I'm able to create these events. I mean, if you give me the CAT paper now of 24 questions in verbal, I'll create around 17 to 19 events of correct answers. If you give me the paper of the data interpretation got 20 questions, I'll be able to create 15 plus correct answers. The knowledge as well as the execution under pressure. If you give me the quants section, I'll be able to create 20 reactions. So that would be my ability under pressure, under pressure of the exam, under time pressure. Maybe if I get 2 wrong here and 1 to 2 wrong here and 1 to 2 wrong here, I'll still have created around 45 plus events of plus 3 marks, which means my score is starting from 135 minus the negatives. So as far as I can do that, nobody can stop me cracking the CAT. It doesn't matter what age I am, what my intelligence is, etc. I'm able to create those events. It's as simple as that. तो तुमको जो प्रिपेयर करना है वो इवेंट क्रिएट करने के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है. ये मतलब वो कोई तुम अच्छे बच्चे, यू आर अ गुड बॉय एंड अ गुड गर्ल, हेंस यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर CAT. इस माइंडसेट से बाहर निकलो, राइट? मेरे को CAT की तैयारी करनी है, मेरे को आई हैव टू बी अ गुड बॉय एंड प्रिपेयर ऑल द पोर्शन एक्सेट्रा. Fine. I mean that's of course part of the process. But let's be very clear about why I'm doing that preparation. When you sit down at 9 o'clock in the night after doing a full days of work and you push yourself कि अभी 3 घंटा मेरे को CAT का prepare करना है, क्यों कर रहे हो? You're doing that. You're studying time split distance. क्यों कर रहे हो बैठ के? You're doing that because exam में 3 क्वेश्चन आएंगे टाइम स्पीड डिस्टेंस पे और तुमको 3 इवेंट्स चाहिए जहां पे तुम्हारा नॉलेज है, यू गॉट द नॉलेज एंड यू गॉट द एग्जीक्यूशन. If you can keep doing that across even 5, 7, 8 chapters, even 10 chapters pe kar lete ho. I mean, and please understand, we are not talking about 22 out of 22. If you can solve 22 out of 22, you are kind of God in exam in the CAT. We are talking about being a 99 percentile requires maybe just 12, 13 questions or 22, which gives you a scope to not have the knowledge or the execution in 10 questions, right? So the key question comes is, okay, now once we realize and you agree to what I'm trying to tell you here, that it's these three, these events that we are trying to create, you need to understand that what are the barriers? What are the barriers to creating these events? So a question in time, speed, distance comes in front of you. A question in average allocation comes in front of you. A question in ratio proportion comes in front of you. A question in functions comes in front of you. It is demanding 3 reactions for you to get to the answer. It is demanding 3 reactions for you to get to the answer. If you can, right? So the first barrier to not being able to get if you can do these 3 reactions, you get to the answer. So the first barrier that stops you from getting to the answer is that you don't know a reaction. Your reaction तुमको पता ही नहीं है. Hence you can't solve the question, right? So when you're going into a chapter, when you enter the chapter of functions, for example, the functions chapter is about 80 to 100 reactions. Standard situations that have standard reactions in the functions chapter. It's about 80 to 100 reactions. And these reactions have to be discovered by you. Unfortunately, you will not get these reactions inside the theory. The theory of function will have absolutely nothing to do, or maybe just 10% influence on what you have to do inside the question. Right? Bottom line है, मेरे को ये 3 reactions आते हैं, तो मेरे को chapter का maths आता है कि नहीं? Doesn't matter. If I know these 3 reactions, I can get these 3 reactions through. I'm done. Whether I know the chapter maths or not doesn't matter. Right? So first barrier is मेरे पास ये reaction नहीं है. So this is what you do when you go into the basics of every chapter. This is what you do in the basics. You try to discover all the situations that require. And what happens in quants, in every chapter, what happens? Now you need to understand that the process of preparation involves theory. I mean, when you want to study a topic in quants, you can just do 2 things. You can do theory, you can go and study theory. As I told you, theory has only a 10% influence. It will only teach you 10% of the reactions that you require inside questions. So everything else that you learn is through problem solving, getting exposure to problems. And problem solving can happen in two formats. Assisted problem solving, where you either watching a video of the question and solution, or somebody is teaching it to you. And self problem solving, where you are doing it on your own. You're doing the problem solving on your own. So you got these 2 tools. Actually, I have these 3 tools. But theory, you get the theory out of the way when you do the first round of your preparation. You get the theory out of the way. और उसके बाद तुम्हारा पूरा preparation is picking up questions and either watching videos or reading solutions of the questions or doing self problem solving. You have only these 2 tools to further grade up or upskill yourself. So what has to happen is that you start off with an initial objective of okay, I'll see somewhere between 25 to 50 problem solving, assisted problem. I'll do the theory, then I'll go through around 25 to 50 assisted problem solving questions. In the form, if you join a course like ours, you'll get videos for it, etc. And then after that, I'll go into my self problem solving. And when I go into my self problem solving, my target on every chapter is around 250 questions at level 1, level 2, and level 3 combined. Most chapters are 250 questions. When you enter these 250 questions, by default, these are self problem solving. This is self problem solving exercise. You might be adequately equipped to handle some of them, but might not be equipped to handle some others. So the advice or the process that you should take is that, let's say you have a 70% solving rate in level 1, a 50% solving rate in level 2, and a 40% solving rate in level 3. And for simplicity, let's say you picked 100 questions each. So what has happened is you've not been able to solve 30 questions in level 1. You've not been able to handle 50 questions in level 2, and you've not been able to handle 60 questions in level 3. So you've not been able to solve 140 questions. So what happens in preparation is what you do next is the most important part of your preparation. So what most people do once they are not able to solve these questions is that they transfer these questions to assisted problem solving. And that's where preparation goes off track. Reason is that when you have found these 140 questions, the ability to find these 140 questions itself has taken you ahead in your preparation. I mean, bottom line, basically, I mean, if you ask me this question, am I prepared for CAT, and we try to audit you, I'll ask you this question कि तुमने time split distance में 300 question जो उठाया है, वो 300 question तुमने self solve कर लिए कि नहीं? So if there's a student who has self solved 300 questions in time split distance, then I would be pretty confident that he would have 95% of the reactions that are required in the chapter. 5% रिएक्शन हो सकता है नहीं देखा होगा उसने, लेकिन 95% रिएक्शन उसने देखा होगा, और लास्ट 5% उसको मॉक टेस्ट और प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस को जब बाद में करेगा तो he'll get those last 5%. So I'm pretty comfortable about that. The preparation I'm not comfortable about is somebody who does this. So what has happened is you built a set of reactions after doing these two, and questions which you could solve were basically demanding those reactions only. These are the questions that are going to stretch you, but you have not stretched yourself because you took the easy way out of transferring them to assisted problem solving and finishing the questions. So finishing questions करने लगोगे तो होता क्या है, you understand is that every question you self solve. Please remember this, and this picture that I'm going to draw on the left top of the slide. Every question you self solve increases the ability and increases your belief on the topic. So when 140 questions, and if you solve an assisted problem solving fashion, somebody tells you how to do it, then there's an ability improvement, but there's no belief improvement. The ability improvement is also a fraction of the ability improvement will happen through self problem solving, right? And assisted problem solving में ability improvement fraction होगा उसका, first of all. So if you look at the tower of ability improvement that will happen out of 140 questions on self-solve basis, the tower of ability improvement through assisted problem solving will be just this much. So targeting the final objective of terminal behavior, if my target was कि ये exercise खत्म करना है तो ये this is the best way to do it. But is our objective exercise खत्म करना है? No. और ऑब्जेक्टिव इसकी मैं एग्जाम में जाऊंगा, मेरे को 3 क्वेश्चन आएंगे इस टॉपिक के और मेरे को 3 क्वेश्चन करने आने चाहिए. दैट्स द ऑब्जेक्टिव. एज सिंपल है. Yeah, this is the fundamental philosophy, just note that I talk about. So and that's part, when we talk about a 6-month plan, that's part of the whole game now. So coming to the point I was trying to make here, तो ये वाला जो गैप तुम्हारा डेवलप नहीं हुआ, अब तुम्हारा ऑब्जेक्टिव हो जाएगा, तुमको उसको डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. सो व्हाट विल हैपन इज यू एंटर एन एंडलेस लूप ऑफ सॉल्विंग, ऑफ सेल्फ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, की तुम और क्वेश्चन उठाओगे तो आधे क्वेश्चन फिर ये वाले आएंगे जो तुमको आते हैं. तो ये डिस्कवर करने के लिए तुमको 6 घंटा 8 घंटा और लगेगा. ये आई मीन टिपिकली टू गेट टू दिस पॉइंट वेयर यू ट्राइड 300 क्वेश्चंस, you take around 10 hours, good 10 hours to prepare to get to this point where you've identified these questions. And you lose this question and the learning opportunity by putting it to an assisted, and then you have to pick up 300 questions more and you need 10 hours more to get back to the position which you are here. So your preparation, जो काम तुम्हारा 300 क्वेश्चन में हो जाना चाहिए, 1500 क्वेश्चन में भी नहीं हो. So the idea is, and this is the cycle basically. And what you do is, when you're talking about a 6-month strategy, and we are starting in May, let me give you a timeline now. for your QA preparation. You should ideally start from, although my book starts from number systems, but you should start from the arithmetic part. And this is the first set of chapters. So I'm assuming that you are starting your first chapter on 11th May. तो अगर 1 week का schedule रखें on every topic, तो between 6 to 8 weeks, that means around 50 days, 40 to 50, 55 days के अंदर ये तुम्हारा arithmetic खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. So by June end, you should plan the first round of arithmetic. The first round of arithmetic might end up with LOD 1 में 70% solve हुआ, LOD 2 में 50% solve हुआ, LOD 3 में 40% solve हुआ. It's fine, because there'll be a second round and there'll be a third round coming up, जिसमें ये percentages ठीक हो जाएंगे when you come back to the topic the second time. So June end तक इसका first round complete करो. And numbers, this is the first part to do. The second part to do is this. When you go into numbers, this part you have to complete in around 3 weeks, because numbers is a large chapter, so एक हफ्ते में नहीं होगा. Longer term preparation में मैं 4 week 5 week भी बोलता हूँ उसको, but in 6 months 6 week preparation plan, this has to be 3 weeks. So if you can target around 20th July for finishing this off, and again it's okay, you have a 70% 60% solving. अगर तुम्हारा target है कि 12 से 14 question ही solve करना है inside the exam, not 20, you don't want to solve 20 questions, so LOD 3 level 3 questions तुम छोड़ भी सकते हो first round में. You can just do level 1 and 2. ठीक है? But what is important is that first round of this topic should also finish by 20th July. और उसके बाद फिर दो ही major areas बच जाते हैं तुम्हारे, right? तो जब ये areas बचते हैं, normally functions algebra का 4 week schedule रहता है if you want to do it comfortably, but I will give you 5 weeks for it, because 5 to 6 weeks you can take. So you can finish this off in August end, the first round of this in August end, because during these 6 weeks, मतलब 20 July से 31st August के बीच में, during this time you should be doing round 2 of these topics. And then you come down to geometry mensuration, so 20 day, so 20th September you are kind of portion ready on the exam. You just left with a couple of weeks of preparation here, which you can finish in the last weeks of September. So this is this thing, and 20th by end of August, in fact by 20th September तुम्हारा इसका round 2 complete हो जाना चाहिए, and you should be hitting round 2 of algebra also, right? And round 2 is very critical, and in fact the multiple rounds of preparation is very critical. I released a video yesterday, that video on my channel, where I started telling my batch in Connaught Place, वो मेरे offline class का video है, in which I've talked about the fact that when I started helping people prepare, I realized that if somebody is ready to go over and over the portion again and again, it's actually nothing can stop him or her from cracking this exam. तो वो वीडियो देख लेना, और उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में the multiple rounds of principle है कि round 1 में तुम थियरी करो, assisted problem solving करो 25 to 50 questions, and then go to a self problem solving of 300 questions, 250 questions. And it's okay that you are able to solve only 130 questions out of it and not able to solve the remaining 120. Yeah, I'm coming to DI and VRC a little bit later. Let's finish off the quants part. So round 2 में जब आते हो तुम, round 2 में you have only 2 methods. You don't go back to the theory, because theory तुम एक बार पढ़ चुके हो, तो theory revise करके कुछ नहीं आएगा. So round 2 में the time has to be spent in more assisted problem solving. If you feel that you need a lot of more effort before you start understanding what to do inside questions, you're having a lot of problems in thinking through questions, etc., then you add maybe 50 questions more of assisted problem solving. And then your self problem solving mein, you don't pick up new questions, just pick these questions up again and redo them. जब तुम redo करोगे, तो there'll be 2 indications which show you why redoing is important. One indication is that there are a lot of questions inside these 150 जो तुम first round में solve किए होगे, उसको तुमको याद नहीं रहेगा क्या किया. तो redo करने से क्या होता है कि जो process तुम्हारे mind में घुसा है वो deeper चला जाता है. Even redo the questions you did first time, you do them again. But this time when you're doing them, you don't do it for the sake of getting to the answer. I mean, you look at 4 questions, you look at 5 questions, and ये question याद नहीं आ रहा है तो उसको पूरा solve करो. लेकिन ये याद आ रहा है तो याद करके छोड़ दो कि अच्छा इसमें ऐसे किए थे. Don't need to get to the answer to those questions because we want to be more efficient in round 2. So redo these and try the questions which you're not able to solve in the first round. You try them again, and you'll see when you try these new questions, yeah, in the second round, you will see even if you had been able to solve only 130 out of 250 questions in the first round, you will see that these 130 questions have raised your ability and they have also raised your belief. So in round 2, when you come back to these questions which you could not do in round 1, you will see that a lot of them will get solved. There might still be some of them which will not get solved, but a lot of them will get solved. So and why you have the time, as I said, why you have the time when you talk about a 180-day preparation structure. As I showed you, you have enough time to finish off by end of September. You have enough time to finish off round 1 of everything and round 2 of maybe a couple of blocks, right? So the whole of October, November, or round 2, I mean, round 1 may you visit a chapter for 7 days maybe, right? Those of you who are very weak can visit a chapter for 10 days in round. Those of you very strong can visit a chapter for 3-4 days. Those of you repeating might visit a chapter for 3-4 days in round 1, right? Round 2 में the visit to the chapter might just be 2 days. because तुमको करना क्या है? तुमको maybe 2 वीडियो और देखना है with 20-30 more questions of assisted problem solving, and then you have to go back to the questions that you have solved and you have this thing and resolve them or try the ones you could not solve. So round 2 might be 2-day visits to the chapter, and going forward to round 3 and round 4, round 3 for a chapter might just be a 2-3 hour visit. तो तुम एक दिन में 3 चैप्टर राउंड 3 कंप्लीट कर सकते हो by the time you are in September, October. So you have the time to study things. Or basic logic क्या है? The basic logic of multiple rounds is that let's say this is called CAT qualifying level of quants. Let's say 99.5 percentile, yeah, 99 percentile level. Somebody who's here to start with gets the jump he requires in 1 round. But somebody who's here to start with requires 3 rounds to get the jump. Somebody who's here to start with will require 2 rounds to get the jump required. And since this is not something we can measure with a thermometer, let's by default define कि 3 rounds तो करेंगे हमारे चैप्टर का. मेरे को 3 राउंड चाहिए कि 2 राउंड चाहिए कि 1 राउंड चाहिए कि 5 चाहिए, वो किसी measuring instrument से measure नहीं कर सकते. So for safety factor, define that you'll do 3 rounds on every topic, every chapter. Just define that so that you are safe. And the 4th round and the 5th round on requirement. Right? This is the logic. And typically for most of you, what I would see is that round 2 में तुम काफी comfortable हो जाओगे most questions से. कुछ लोगों को देखा है मैंने round 4 तक नहीं comfortable होते हैं, but most of you will get comfortable in round 2 on most questions. And once you get to a 90% solving rate, कि 250 question उठाए 225 बन गए, last 10% you can ask just to accelerate your preparation, right? But not before. Don't ask. Don't get to the point for every 1 question you solved, you are getting assistance in 1 question. Don't. And that way you'll never qualify the CAT. That's one. And then once you are done to reach this point, you finish the last 10% questions by asking doubts, etc., or taking help, and then you add questions. Round 3 में you should be adding questions. कौन से question add होने चाहिए? The previous year questions. So you should cover CAT 99 to 2008 in quants and 17 to 22 in quants. ये इसका हर question topic wise, chapter wise you should be able to cover in round 3. So this is the basic outline of what you need to do in quants. And parallelly, I think typically once you are your CAT prep strategy is not only about verbal and quants and DILR. It is also about your mocks. So I'm just coming to that, Nikhil. Nikhil has asked me the same question. So typically mocks, even while you're doing your first few chapters, you can start mocks, right? So you can have two thumb rules for mocks. One thumb rule for mock is that you start off in week 1 itself. So you keep a 4-week gap for a mock to understand कि तुम कितना score कर पा रहे हो current ability से. Try your best. When you give a mock, try your best. Assume कि CAT है, and try to get a diagnostic element of how much you are able to score in 3 sections, right? और DILR और verbal में तो कोई portion होता नहीं है, so you can actually react to what is there in front of you and start taking mocks. So you can, and by week 13, by week 12, 13, you will be done with the arithmetic part and the numbers part, and you will be touching the functions part. So after this, you can start taking a mock once every 2 weeks for the next 4 weeks. And after that, it has to be 1 mock per week. And once you start getting closer to your preparation, to your deadlines and to your exam, sometime in end of September onwards, you can actually go to 3 per week, 3 mocks per week. So basic target, you have to do around 30 to 40 mocks that you should do. And in the mocks, one thing that you should do, which we at Mindworks are very conscious about. At Mindworks, we don't teach you, and this is one thing which I personally tell my teachers that अगर तुम CAT 17 to 20 question के basis पे कुछ पढ़ा रहे हो during the initial classes, so you are spoiling the students' attempt, because CAT 17 to 22 should be taken as mock tests during your mock test journey, right? So in our system at Mindworks, we don't do any questions from 17 to 22 in the basic first 4-5 months of the course. ठीक है, एक आध क्वेश्चन कभी इलस्ट्रेट करने के लिए कर दिया, बट वी डोंट नेवर डू कि आज CAT 17 का पेपर डिस्कस करें. What we want you to do is, and what we want our students to do is cover the entire 17 to 22 as mock tests, followed by complete solutions, either video form or discussion form of each of those questions in the classes or in video form. So we want you to know all these questions, but they have to come in the second rounds and third rounds, right? So whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate or not graduate or graduated, just it doesn't matter. The preparation process remains the same. So this is the quants process. Now DILR has a similar process. The only difference in DILR is that there is no, in data interpretation, logical reasoning, there is no theory. So when you start preparing for data interpretation problem and logical reasoning, most of your learning is through problem solving, and problem solving can be assisted and self. And the same thing will happen in DI also. You pick up 300 sets of DI, you pick up 300 sets of LR, and you try to do them self-solved. To get to this point where you can solve these 300 sets, you need some assistance to do 50 sets of DI on assisted problem solving, 50 sets of LR in assisted problem solving. And the last 300, and again, these 300 sets, when you do and you go through the first round of this, you might not be able to do all the sets. You might be able to do 200 of them. 100 sets नहीं solve होंगे तुम्हारे. तो उसमें वही process लगाने की, round 2 में जब आओगे, you will be better because you have solved 200 sets. You got the ability jump and the belief jump out of having solved 200 sets. When you pick up these questions again, you will see that a lot of them will get solved. And once you get to 250, 270, you can then understand the last 30 by going through sessions or doubts, etc. Right? So this is the work to do in DLRs. And so the typical target I give if you're talking about a May start and you start on an average doing 20 sets per week on DI and 20 sets per week on LR. Right? And if an average set takes you around 15 minutes to go through, 15-20 minutes में कोई सेट सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है DI में, तो छोड़ दो उसको मार्केट एज की सेकंड राउंड में करेंगे. तो तुम्हारा अगर एवरेज 15 मिनट्स आ रहा है, तो आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट 5 hours of preparation on DI and 5 hours on LR. So 10 hours a week you have to put on this, right? Quants में it is around 10 to 15 hours, because if you're doing one chapter and the chapter requires you to do the theory in 6 hours, say 5 to 6 hours, and 10 hours of problem solving. So 15 hours का visit होता है हर chapter का. So adding these two, it becomes around 20-25 hours, 25 hours of preparation. So whether you have a 9 to 5 job or you are in this thing, you can actually spare 25 hours. और verbal का जो preparation है, verbal के preparation में it is not so much sit down and sit down time, because verbal preparation is not so much sit down time. Sit down is all. Verbal preparation is about a vocabulary, it's about a reading. So there are two dimensions to verbal preparation. When you're preparing verbal, there are two dimensions to verbal preparation. One dimension to verbal preparation, one dimension of verbal preparation is improving English. One dimension of verbal preparation is improving English language. And the second dimension of verbal preparation is improving solving. And the event we are trying to create in verbal is not about reactions. Verbal, the event we are trying to create is you read in RC, for example, you read the passage and you're able to completely comprehend the passage. You read a question, and you're able to comprehensively understand the question, and you read the four options and you're able to identify the correct one which answers the question asked, right? The second strategy for mocks is that you, sorry, I forgot to say that. The first strategy for mocks is you start taking one mock a month right now. The second strategy for mocks is that if you're not so comfortable with that, then the second strategy for mocks is you take 6 weeks preparation time, or 6 weeks में you try to finish around 10-12 chapters of quants. 6-8 weeks preparation time ले लो, और वहां से उसके बाद two tests a week से start directly. Right, so once you're done with around the main issue in mocks is that बैठे मैं जब कर रहा हूँ mocks मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा question paper में कि क्या करना है, तो मेरे को कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा है उसको करके. So if you belong to that category, then you can take 8 weeks. 8 weeks में 20 questions per week. You will be doing 160 questions of DI, 160 questions of LR, 160 sets. And you will also be doing around 8, 9, 10 chapters of quants. So arithmetic to complete हो ही जाएगा, और number sum भी अगर push करके complete कर सकते हो second strategy के लिए, so you would have a fair chance at being able to solve 12, 13 of the 22 questions in the QA section. जो question तुमने जो chapter नहीं पढ़ा है उस question को skip भी कर सकते हो, knowing that कि जब मैं पढ़ लूँगा तो I'll have a chance at it. लेकिन जो chapters तुम पढ़ चुके हो उसमें तो एटलीस्ट चांस होगा. So you'll have this thing. So that is this thing. So that's the second strategy. Third strategy is if you take a mock and you feel that you are ready to take mocks, or along the way तुम बाकी preparation कर लोगे. Mocks में क्या होगा कि there will be score barriers, score improvement barriers कि नहीं कर पा रहे score, या there'll be you will face some challenges कि इस chapter को solve नहीं हो रहा है, इस तरह का question नहीं solve हो रहा है, तो you go back to the practice pitch and you do those and come back to this thing. So the third strategy is you can start one mock from now also. That's the third strategy. So you can decide which one works for you, right? If you can take the third one, there's nothing like it. One mock a week अभी से start कर दिए, and your preparation is then in the context of the mock की okay, इस mock में ये दिक्कत हुआ, अगले हफ्ते इस दिक्कत को मैं solve कर देता. Right, so coming back, as I said, तो the event we are trying to create is question. RC आएगा सामने, तुमको समझ में आ जाना चाहिए comprehension. You should be able to comprehend the question and you should be able to understand the options that answer the question, and you get this right. That's the event we are trying to create, right? So there are two dimensions to it. One is improving a language. Now, improving a language can be a 5-year project also, but there are some significant things that you can do to crash that in a 6-month period. And for that, you need to understand this next slide that I have. So essentially, 3 factors make reading difficult inside the CAT. The first factor that makes reading difficult inside the CAT is that the complexity of language is higher. So you will find more difficult words, more flowery words, less frequent words used inside the exam passages. So for that, the work that you do on the word level of vocabulary is the significant structure. And vocabulary pe, of course, you can do vocabulary less and all, but अगर vocab पे जो तुम काम करते हो, active काम करना है vocabulary पे, तो you can do vocab less, you can try to memorize this, etc. Or you can also do classes for vocabulary. We do provide classes for vocabulary in our course, etc. But a default passive play on vocab to everybody should do, and that is when you do your reading for improving your ability to comprehend. So every passage may you'll find words that you don't understand. There'll be words across the passage which you'll not understand. So let's say you're finding 10 words, 10 to 12 words in a passage which you of around 600 words. 10 12 words तुमको मिल रहा है जो तुमको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, राइट? तो क्या करोगे, एक रजिस्टर बना लो, उस रजिस्टर में वर्ड्स को इंसर्ट कर दो और उनका मीनिंग देख लो. मीनिंग रजिस्टर में लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, right? So this is the most important component. I mean, because lists and classes etc. will help you, but the repetition is the most important component of vocabulary development. So you make a register and put these words. So what will happen is next passage you read, you'll again get 10 to 12 words, and you start putting all those words every day. You read 5-7 passages, you get 50-60 words here which are new to you. So you just read those words and read the meaning and try to tell yourself the meaning. Maybe you can do a 5-second exercise of using it in a sentence and then move on. That's it. और कुछ मत करो. तो क्या होगा? As you keep reading more and more, these words will start repeating. ये word यहाँ पे भी आ जाएगा. So the moment a word gets repeated a second time, it starts becoming yours. Third repetition के बाद वो word तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, तुमको याद हो जाएगा. 4-5 repetition हो गए किसी word के, so it will become yours for life. You will forget your name, but you can't forget the word. So that's the process. That's the process of vocabulary. That's the best process for vocabulary development. This register logic. So तुमको इस register में पता रहेगा जब ये word फिर से वापस आएगा किसी और passage में, तुमको याद रहेगा, उतना तो याद रहेगा कि वो word मैंने लिखा हुआ है कहीं पे, right? और second revision हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. So this is how you manage the vocabulary complexity. That's the best way. Lists and classes में you start from one side. Lists classes में तभी भी help होगा. We do audio-video based classes also for vocabulary. Meenakshi ma'am takes them, but तो classes में तो help होगा तुमको, लेकिन से help होगा, लेकिन lists etc. I've seen are not very effective. It's normally a waste of time. So 3 factors make it difficult. One is complexity of language. उसको improve करने के लिए, और क्या होगा इसमें ना, ये जो process of register बताया मैंने, the more important words, the more frequently used words will come more number of times. There might be a few words that came only once और उसके बाद कभी नहीं आया तुम्हारे 6 महीने of reading में, तो it's most likely कि word तुम्हारे CAT में भी नहीं आएगा. जो word 3 बार आ रहे हैं अलग अलग पैसेज में, 3-4 बार जिस word को तुम देख लिए, वो word ज्यादा likely है एग्जाम के अंदर also. So complexity of language will be dealt through this logic. The second thing that makes reading difficult is the unfamiliarity of subject. So complex language written on a subject you know makes it easier, is normally easier to understand and read than complex language on an unfamiliar topic. ठीक है? So this is the second part. So we have those questions in our tests upcoming, Shivam. So if you do our test series, you'll get those questions. And I'm sure a lot of people who would have built exercises for that. And हम लोग के books में भी next edition में आ जाएगा वो. But that's going to come next year, the global book. So unfamiliarity का simple solution है. कोई topic अगर है, suppose तुमको medical research and medical technology difficult लगता है पढ़ने में और understand करने में, तो किसी भी टॉपिक पे 50 से 100 आर्टिकल पढ़ लोगे तो वो अनफेमिलियरिटी खत्म हो जाएगा. So this is completely in your control. And the third aspect is longer sentences. Third reason why CAT reading becomes difficult is that inside the CAT you have longer sentences and passages. So you will see I've seen 70 word ke sentence, not paragraph, 70 word sentences I've seen. तुम 70 वर्ड पैराग्राफ के यूज टू हो और यहाँ पे 70 वर्ड का सेंटेंस आता है, तो उसका एक पर्टिकुलर टेक्निक होता है how to deal with that sentence. I've done some of them on my YouTube channel. I'll also keep doing more of reading on my YouTube channel so that you can subscribe to it and understand it. So these are three dimensions that you need to control. और जब तुम sentence comprehension ठीक हो जाएगा तुम्हारा, तो paragraph is a group of sentences and passage is a group of paragraphs. So if I can understand sentence, I'll be able to understand paragraph. If I can understand paragraph, I can understand passage. एक बार इस point पे मैं आ गया कि I can understand the passage completely, then the next step of verbal is just learning to solve and getting more accurate with choosing the answers. So that's a 2 month, 3 month job, right? So that you can easily do with your practice. But please understand, verbal is not like कि आज से question solve करना start कर दिया, quants में time speed distance में 300 question solve कर लिया, verbal में RC में 300 passage solve कर लिया. It's about skill growth. It's not about how many passages you solved. I might have solved only 50 passages, but I might be better than you. If you've solved 500 passages, I might still be better than you than at comprehension. Reading articles, you need to go to Guardian, Economist, that kind of foreign publications will be the best, right? Guardian, Economist, Eon, Philosophy Today, New York Times, these kind of newspapers and magazines are the best. Time limit for finishing a passage in CAT. Typically, the top guys, for example, if I solve a comprehension passage in CAT, I take around 4 minutes to read it, 4.5 minutes to read it, and around 2.5 minutes to finish the questions. So I do it around 7 minutes, but that's extremely fast compared to what most people can do. So even 9 to 10 minutes is a fair time total. Chalo, so this was what I wanted to talk to you about. I hope this was instructive for all of you. And I do look forward to some of you joining our program. If you have any questions, I can stay back for another 5 minutes. We have a classroom course in CP Delhi, and we have these DILR basic course and advanced course, complete course available. This is on popular demand. A lot of people wanted a specific sectional course from our side. We have given this, and we also have the online course, which is starting from here. So books से use करना, books को use करो self problem solving experience के लिए हर्ष. That's what you'll do from the books. The books are and tremendous this thing. The price etc. will be communicated to you. You'll get a call by tomorrow from our team tomorrow day after, and you can discuss the price etc. with them. है ना? और अगर तुमको offline कह रहा पूछना है तो you can ask them the offline tomorrow. Indian Express is okay to start with, but can't be the final destination. Yeah, you can get demo classes also, Ronak. You can talk to the council. We'll give you demo classes. Yeah, YouTube channel में मैं आ रहा हूँ. I was busy with my DILR revision और आज ही खत्म हुआ है मेरा final content for LR. So I think I should be coming back on YouTube from tomorrow itself. ठीक है? Study material मेरे book से we asked people to at Mindworks we asked people to take the this thing, the books. I think the fees for the full course is 29,700 for the online course. That's the offer they'll give you. But I'm sure you can talk to them and use that promo code that I gave you, ASINT. ये promo code use कर लो, so they'll give you a further discount on it. This they'll obey this or they'll honor this promo code till tomorrow. Age is not a hurdle. I mean, people do an MBA till 28, 30, 32 also, so it's okay. Profile पे I've put some videos on my YouTube channel, so you can look at that. Right, profile का एक specific logic होता है जो मैंने बताया हुआ है. You can search the profile video on YouTube and find it. ये gap year में typically you have to be able to do something concrete. तो कुछ concrete किया हो gap year में तो and you can explain it to yourself कि मैं क्या कर रहा था तो then you can explain it to anybody else. ठीक है? Extra curricular है तो अच्छा है, नहीं है तो you can't go about creating extra curricular in the last 6 months. ठीक है. इंटरव्यू प्रिपरेशन हम लोग का we give you interview preparation in our course, so that's also there. We support you for the entire interviews. ट्यूशन पढ़ाना justify नहीं होगा, more I mean it's not very justifiable, but you can defend it कि क्या कर रहे थे. I mean it's more about what you learned. ट्यूशन तुम 2 घंटा 3 घंटा पढ़ा रहे हो, 20 घंटे 24 घंटे का दिन होता है, 6 घंटा 7 घंटा सोते होगे, तो 17-12 घंटा और क्या कर रहे थे? What did you do? How did you develop yourself is the key question. Work experience but no real work on bench. मत बताना bench में हो, थोड़ा बहुत flip करके you can get through. ठीक है. What if I prepare only arithmetic and algebra for quants? It's a dangerous strategy, because what happens then is arithmetic और algebra अगर सिर्फ prepare किया हो तो you have 15 questions out of 22. और suppose जो 7 easy questions होते हैं CAT में वो दूसरे chapter के आ गए और 15 के 15 तुम्हारे difficult questions आ गए, क्या करें? So yeah, you can do something where you do deep preparation on two areas, and you do normal preparation, just one round of preparation on the other areas. ठीक है, जो आएगा वो कर लो. ठीक है. Time per day is not something that I can define. That depends on the work. The work I told you, 1 chapter per week, 150, 200 questions that you have to try every week, along with the theory of that chapter. So that, yeah, my books are enough. So ideally, what you do is you use the quants book for self problem solving of quants, the verbal DI and LR for the self problem solving, and then last May you can, August September May you can use the chapter wise solved papers book for the last part of your preparation. ठीक है, चलो. So I would love if you guys can put these questions on the YouTube channel. I would love to answer those there. है ना? Right question CAT एग्जाम, राइट क्वेश्चन चूज करने का सिंपल लॉजिक होता है कि तुमको क्वेश्चन का नॉलेज है और एग्जीक्यूशन कर पाओगे तो दैट्स द राइट क्वेश्चन. नॉलेज नहीं है, एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं कर पाओगे, दैट्स द रॉन्ग क्वेश्चन. So even the difficult questions in CAT are only 4 steps or 5 steps. DILR में 20 steps questions होते हैं, 10 step questions होते हैं. So do you have the reactions for it or not, is what you look at. ठीक है. Yeah, CAT QR SSCGL में I think थोड़ा सा different होता है, some parts. Algebra part is slightly different, but otherwise more or less same. चलो, thank you so much. You can, Harsh, if you got a 94.63, you can do with mocks directly. और mocks के बाद analysis करते रहना mocks का, और जो gaps मिलता है उसको fill करते जाओ. That's also a good preparation strategy. Yeah, OMETs का cover, हम लोग OMETs में that, IFT, SNAP और NMAT ये चारों cover करते हैं, and CD Maharashtra. So whatever extra question types are there in those exams, we cover those. The updated test series, we have started releasing it. तो हम लोग का 2 टेस्ट, थर्ड टेस्ट अभी रिलीज होने वाले next few days में. 2 tests for this year already released, so you'll keep getting those tests soon. And after that, we'll have a schedule coming up. Chalo, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being with all of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye. Yeah, IITs are pretty decent. They're good. Bye-bye. See you. Great talking to all of you. Bye-bye.